Alright, here's another set that I've had good success with when trapping around a lodge, and I kind of prefer this set too because you got a good chance of catching an otter. I've caught several otters like this when they come up to play around and poke around on these lodges. But we can see obviously these beavers are working every night putting mud. I mean, there's fresh mud that still looks wet right there. So these beavers are coming up here on this, working this lodge over every night, and they got a nice little indention right here where it looks like they're coming straight out of the water. So I'm going to put me a number 5 bridger here and see if I can't put a bracelet on one. I like to use my knee when I'm setting these big foothold traps because I sure don't want to catch my fingers in these babies. Alright, we got our trap set. We've got water deep enough to drown even with a back foot catch, I believe. So I know, I want the trap to be right here, so I'm going to anchor out my deep end. Try to poke around and find the deepest spot. I've actually got a really deep spot right here behind me, but I don't want them to get hung in that tree, so I'm going to avoid that. And just poke this rod as deep into the mud, as far into the mud as I can. Alright. I'm going to grab my T-bar here. And one thing you want to be careful of on these sets too is, staking this grounding rod on a dam or on a lodge is not the most solid ground. You're not dealing with, see, there's a big log right there, so you want to be real particular because you want to make sure that it's staked well enough that you don't lose your trap and your beaver if something does happen. For some reason he is able to pull it up. So push that in there. That's pretty good. And I'll get these bridgers got that little night latch dimple on the dog. Put it in place and then just put that trap right there. And this drowning rod being exposed a little bit, it's going to be a little bit of I'm going to go ahead and start that down the rod as well, but that's exposed, going to be a little bit of fencing for them, but they're back and forth working on this thing all night, so I'm not too worried about fencing. I know as much as they're crossing over this trap coming to here, I'm going to wind up catching one sooner or later, so that's all there is to it. And here we got our drowner set on the lodge where the beavers are coming up on top of the lodge. Right off the bat I see this log, this stick wasn't here to start with, so that kind of makes me wonder about what happened. And then I don't see my lock. I don't see my lock on the bar here, so we'll pull the stake up and see if we got anything down the wire. Feels heavy. And there we have it. Another nice big beaver. A nice big leech on him. That's a good sized beaver there. That's what we're looking for. So we'll get ready and reset this, remake this set. Got our trap how we want it, find a nice good place, good deep place to anchor it off. Stick it down in the mud real good. We'll do the same for the top end of the stake of the rod here. It's always tricky to get a good firm set, solid. That seems pretty good. Oh yeah, that'll hold. Then we get our pan like we want it. Pretty well level. And I'm setting kind of similar to how I would a dam brake for this set. Because I figure the way the beavers are coming and working this, they probably got their front feet full. So they're coming in with their front feet full and their back feet's what's going to touch down first. So I'm setting the trap back a little bit farther and a little bit deeper. That's a nice big old flat tail there. We're back here at our lodge set. I can see the trap's gone down the rebar. So we'll pull it up and see what we got. Feels heavy. That's a good sign. Oh yeah. Got a nice full back foot catch right there. And that's a small beaver. Probably a young of this year. And that's one thing that you got to keep in mind whenever you're trapping around the dens or lodges, is that the closer you get to the lodge, the more likelihood that you're going to catch the smaller beaver. So if you're really targeting strictly fur or something like that, you want to be away from the lodge. Now if you're trapping for damage purposes and trying to eliminate the beavers in an area, then you might start out away from the lodge, but you're going to wind up here to catch these last fewer smaller beavers.